Man, what a perfect day to shoot this video. As far as you guys can see, right? Trees in the background moving along. The wind is starting to pick up. And a lot of you are wondering what life is like down here in Albuquerque when the winds start to pick up. Does it become a dust bowl? Does stuff go flying everywhere? Is it really that bad as they say? And I'm here to tell you that some of that is true, but entirely not. And I got to remind you that if this is your first time tuning in to the Living in Albuquerque channel, welcome. Do yourself a huge favor and hit that subscribe and notification bell down at the bottom here. That way you guys never miss out on any videos, because we are dropping videos every week talking about what our beautiful city of Albuquerque and surrounding cities have to offer. Now, aside from doing these videos, guys, we are licensed brokers here in the state of New Mexico. So as much as I love doing this, I would love to help you out with your real estate needs. So if you are planning on moving down here within the next year or a couple of months, that number popping up on the screen is my direct line. I am the one that answers all the calls, texts, and emails. So if you are interested in moving down here, we'd love to hop on a quick Zoom call to help you guys out in making that decision. So let's talk a little bit more about this wind situation and see what we got going on. Alrighty, guys, now to fully understand the whole wind situation that we have going on down here, down to a science. For the majority of the time, the high winds are coming from the East Mountains. And what happens is that, compressed air from the east side is coming through the canyon. And what happens is that all that air gets compressed through the canyon there, and then it just pretty much just explodes out into Albuquerque, right? It's kind of a funny way to put it, but that way you guys get the mental picture of exactly how these high winds come to be. And it's not going to be these hurricane winds that make it all crazy and you can't walk outside. There's dogs and cats and all that stuff in the air. Really, guys, it's just that, right? Is that this forced air is getting compressed and creating this sort of induction that goes through the canyon, comes out in Albuquerque, and Albuquerque has to deal with it. Now, do they differ from season to season? 100%. During that transition from winter to spring, right, you're getting that fluctuation in temperatures, and we all know what happens when the fluctuation in temperatures happen. We see it in the coastal areas. They deal with hurricanes and that kind of deal. So here we deal with more or less like higher winds coming through and conflicting winds, right, because we'll get winds from the east side, the west side, and sometimes even it feels like it's coming north and south. I don't know, it's super weird how Albuquerque's like this bowl essentially when you look at it. So just understanding the minute complexities and really dumbing it down for you guys is going to help you understand not only what part of town you should be living in, or essentially what you should be looking forward to when it comes to these high wind situations. So what does that mean for your daily life in those high wind situations? To be honest with you guys, your life isn't really going to change, right? This isn't the 1930s, 1920s where we were dealing with the Dust Bowl kind of thing. We have a lot of buildings and a lot of other mountain things kind of helping us with that. So even when you looked at the Dust Bowl maps, Albuquerque got affected like this much. It wasn't a whole lot in the retrospect of things, but maybe when the high winds start to pick up, you'll want to stay inside, because if you are like me and you deal with allergies, everything gets picked up, your nose is running, you're stuffed up, and you're just dealing with the worst, right? So you may want to stay inside. I know my whole life I've been dealing with allergies, and I mean the worst, right? I get runny nose, runny eyes, I got headaches, I just feel sick. When I'm not really sick, it's just my body really reacting to what's going on with the wind. And it's as soon as that wind starts to picks up dirt and dust, I really start feeling it. Now that can be an inconvenience, and then also too, just walking outside and getting sandblasted, that's never fun. Wearing glasses, eye protection for the majority of the time, that can help out a lot. Wearing a mask when you are dealing with the high situations, especially if you got health issues, you may want to talk to your doctors and let them know, like, hey, I'm moving to Albuquerque. They got a lot of dirt, and the wind starts to pick up. What does that mean for me in my life? I deal with asthma, or hey, I just got breathing issues and I just want to make sure that I'm able to adapt well. And for the majority of the time, you are going to be able to. Like I said, I deal with allergies. I know a lot of people that have asthma that do just fine. So it's not going to be a make or break thing, to be honest with you. All right, guys, now what does this mean for your house and things that you're going to be maintaining and doing when the high winds pick up? I'm going to just show you a prime example. Look at my front doorstep. All these leaves and dirt just gets bundled up here in this little corner when the winds start to pick up. And that's a majority of what you're going to be dealing with when it comes to your house and high winds. It's a lot of maintenance, right? Things are going to get picked up. It's going to throw roof shingles. It's going to throw trash in your yard. So I highly recommend that you invest in a good broom. You invest in some good utilities to be able to clean all this stuff up, because it's going to be pretty often that you're doing this. So no, you're not going to be dealing with anything crazy where like parts of your house go flying off and all that stuff. You don't need hurricane-proof windows and all that. Just need to keep up the maintenance, regular stuff, right? Things that you're going to be doing on the weekends, things that you're going to be doing on your days off. Nothing new here. So yeah, do the winds pick up? They do. But they're not going to stop you from living your life, and they're not going to destroy your home. So obviously there can be some problems when it comes to living in the high desert. And this whole wind situation, it's very minimal, but it can be, a whole, big decision for somebody, obviously, right? And number one, you always want to check with your doctors before you move down here and do anything, because if this high wind picking up dirt and making your allergies act up is going to be an issue, then Albuquerque is probably not a good fit for you guys. But if you're on the other side of the coin, or if you're like me, just don't care, and you're okay with dealing with it, you're all right, then hey, we might want to have a conversation about what areas you're going to want to move to, because some sides of town are better than others. Now, what I mean is, on the east side, close to the foothills, they're not dealing with a whole lot of this just because they got the mountains to cover them. And plus, when it's getting pushed through that canyon, it's just pretty much getting projectile over here to the west side. Now, the west side is going to deal with a lot more wind because you're looking at wind coming from all separate directions, right? The east side, the north side, the west side, and the south side. So it really becomes a bit of a vortex. Now, what really becomes a bit of a vortex is the downtown area, because Albuquerque is built like a bowl. You'll see it when you're traveling through here. Believe it or not, if you're coming down Central Bridge and all that stuff, you see everything is going down. And it's the same in reverse when you're coming from the East Mountain. So just be aware, where you live is really going to matter, and we can help you find that perfect destination, all depending on if this wind thing is really going to be a big issue to you or not. Alrighty, so is the wind something that you can adapt to? 100%. When you go outside, like I let you know, glasses are going to be a good thing. Wearing a mask is going to help out a ton. Or just avoiding it altogether is going to be the best approach, just to be honest with you guys. So living down here, dealing with the high wind situation, I mean, I've lived here my whole life, guys, and I'm still here, and the winds don't bother me. When it does get super windy, I just don't go outside, just to be honest with you guys. And if I do have to go outside, I'm running inside of my vehicle just to make sure that I don't have to get sandblasted. I'm riding with the windows up, and 80% of the time, guys, I mean, you can even ask my wife, I'm rolling with the windows down, because I'm just that guy. That's how I grew up. Kind of that car lifestyle. I like to listen to my music a little bit louder, so I apologize, but I do enjoy when that wind just comes through the car window or through my doorstep, and especially after it rains, like, it smells so good. So if you guys are not deterred from the whole wind situation, you're okay with just a little bit of maintenance, you're okay with cleaning the front doorstep and maybe chopping some trees, then Albuquerque may be a great fit for you guys, because out of those 365 days that we get in a year, 300 plus of those are sunny days. Very few are going to be super windy, right? You're only really dealing with those high winds that can potentially be a problem during that transition from winter to spring. And then every other day throughout the year is just going to be this kind of normal little breeze that you're dealing with that picks up dirt, makes it a bit of annoyance, enough to get your car dirty. Like, it just rained for like 5 minutes and it picked up a little bit of dirt and it got everything dirty. So now my truck, I got to wash it again this weekend, guys. So more of an inconvenience when it comes to the whole wind thing. It's not going to be a problematic situation to where it's tearing down your house and throwing everything all over the place, guys. So if you aren't deterred and you're still planning on moving down here this year, again, guys, we are licensed brokers, and that number popping up on the screen is my direct line, and I'd love to help you out with finding that next home here in Albuquerque, or finding your first home, because a lot of you guys are, renting where you're living right now and moving to Albuquerque because you can finally afford a house. So if you want to have that conversation, I'd love to point you in the right direction. Again, I am the one that answers all the calls, texts, and emails, so feel free to reach out at any time, because I'd love to help out. I think dinner's done, guys, so I'm going to head inside. I'm going to let you guys enjoy this win. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.